Hi everyone, I am Dion D'Souza. I'm currently in France, Lille, at ESSEC. I'm doing my master's in marketing, and I have moved and I've been here in France for the last 4 months. And there's some things that I've noticed that Indian students probably do, and this is something that you should probably know what not to do or something to work on, just to have an overall better experience abroad. Because well, one of the reasons is that you've gone abroad not just to pursue a better education, but also to pursue a sense of development within yourself. It's a new environment where you can participate in different ways, and therefore engaging in your environment obviously changes you. And okay, so how to sort of direct that change better? Now, the reason why I decided to make this video is because I have a story. I was in a bus getting back from university, and in my bus, from a certain distance away, there were a bunch of Indian students. There were like two or three Indian students, and they were seated, and then they stood up, and something about their body language gave me the impression that they were holding themselves very apologetically. Like, you could see that, when you compare everyone over there, and this was the recurring sort of theme, and then when I saw these boys again, it really confirmed my sort of suspicion. What I see is there's an apologetic body language being held. They hold themselves in such a way that it just seems a bit meager, just like there was so much cowardice, or there was a flavor of cowardice installed within their body that I saw. This caving in, shoulders down, just looking down, like a very, very sort of nervous body language. And at that moment, I decided that I will never carry myself like that. I will not carry myself apologetically everywhere that I go. So this sort of story inspired me to sort of realize, okay, there is some things that probably need to be shared, like to any Indian student that's coming abroad, because we come from an environment that's very different, where it's okay to bend down to authority. It's okay to sort of carry this apologetic frame wherever that you go. And that is rewarded because we are in India rewarded for not sticking out, for actually sticking in, to participating in the social system, as it were, to not do anything that really stands you out, because for you'd be cringe or something like that, or you'd be ridiculed, or there would be comments passed at you. Your parents would yell at you. Our entire system is designed in a way that we stick together and we stick in. So this is transferred within the body language, and that's what kind of gave me the inspiration to never do that. One of the first things that I realized is that, when you come to another country and you do not know the culture, you do not know how things work, and it's not just on a macro level, it's on a micro level. It's about how you stand, it's about how you move, it's about how you speak. There's tiny little body language things that you notice. It's down to that, honestly, when you move to another country. And what I realize is that most Indian students that I've spoken to are maladaptive to their environment. And one of the main things that I get from as a reasoning as to why is culture. We want to protect our Indian culture. This is how it's done in India, and so we'll do it here. But one of the things that I realize is that, and on a more empathetic note, it's done out of defense almost. It's done out of a thing wherein this new culture is so confusing and so, well, it's a culture, so it's built around a millennia which you're not privy to. So instead of opening up themselves to sort of exposure of this sort, what happens is that they would double down, on existing cultural routines and patterns and establish them even more. So you'd actually reinforce, you become more, as it were, Indian in France or in another country abroad. And that's done to sort of protect this identity that we've built, because there's no longer this environment where it sort of automatically, validates your cultural identity. Instead, you build it through now your behaviors, you reinforce it, you double down on the whole thing. So I think this is a reason that's often given, and even I myself have caught myself doing it because I was just like, well, there's nothing here, so I'm going to be more Indian here. I'm going to double down on what I know to be familiar to myself. Sticking to other Indians. I think one of the main things is that whenever and you know what, it's not just Indians, it's probably every other international students. But I think we as a people can do better. What I've seen is that as soon as they get in, as soon as they come to another country, they surround themselves with Indians that they know. That's all they do. They never leave that whole system. And I've asked people here who've been here much longer than I have, 5 years, 4 years. Do they know anyone? Do they speak the language that is spoken in these countries? Like for example, for me, it's France. I actually don't get any positive response. I don't get in the sense that yes, I do, and I have no. They've surrounded themselves with comfort, and what happens is that because we are a collectivist culture by nature, I think it's natural for us to reproduce the same sort of thing. It's a sense of comfort. We can speak and relate and go through the same experiences. But then, why would you come all the way to another country to just shut down? You see, there's a theme here which is shutting down, just going to what's familiar, not going outside the comfort zone, which would be my third point, not leaving your comfort zone. Comfort zone is very vital for your survival in India, because you can survive and thrive in the comfort zone almost. You don't need to like go out of it, because if you are, there's always other people that are doing it with you. There's always company. There's always these kind of things. So it's also a collective adventure. But here you need to, I think, step out of your comfort zone, which means the safety of knowing people from the same culture, just doubling down on the same language, doubling down on the same rituals and things like that internally. Instead of that, leaving and discovering your own individuality. Your own individuality, so that you can actually discover, in some sense, who you are without the packaging that you come with originally, the molding that you come with originally. You can break out of that mold here because no one's telling you, hey, listen, this is what you do, this is what you shouldn't do. So leaving your comfort zone is, in a way, the best thing that you can do abroad. And that's the only way you can actually taste the experience of coming abroad, that you can leave your comfort zone and actually just participate in the entire thing, learn a little bit, break that fear that I was talking about in the first story. That is grooming. Grooming is something that I've noticed that Indian guys specifically, they don't keep that up. They like, hair's often messy, beard's often untamed. Just overall, there's something, like, this is coming from me being an Indian also. It's coming from a sense of, oh my God, okay, I'm looking at the boys in my class, I'm looking at this, and it's just, I don't see a grooming that's efficiently done. Like, uncut nails, messy hair, just overall does not look presentable. So, and this is one of the things that I think we can take as a luxury in India, wherein we can go out anywhere and nobody would really judge us for the way that we dress. We don't have that in us, because there's so many people that are dressed in so many different ways. You don't really need to think about that too much. But I think when you are in a country that's abroad, you need to present yourself in a way, because unfortunately you're never seen for your individuality, but you're seen for the country that you belong to. Lastly, okay, last few things. Not knowing how to banter. We don't have this, and we don't have it in a way that most cultures do. Knowing how to banter is something that, for example, if you're in the United States, that's something that you would need to learn, how to have that wit, that sort of like witness to you. Because again, it's going back to that story, in the bus story, apologetic. Everyone's more or less apologetic. Learning how to banter means learning how to engage people in a way that shows, hey, I'm here, I'm a person. Like, I am a valid human being here and I can wit you. We can engage and play together in some sense. So I think learning how to banter is very necessary. Because it is an expression of personality, especially in, for example, Western cultures, where you most likely are. Not knowing, now this is not knowing social etiquettes. Again, unfortunate to say, but please, thank you, being aware of your social spaces, being aware of the appropriate loudness in different places is also something I've not noticed in Indian students. I've noticed Indian students speaking extremely loudly, not having the whole thank you, please, like hello, any of these, because again, we don't really have that in India. You wouldn't go to a shop and say bonjour. You wouldn't say hello. When you go to a shop, you wouldn't say namaskaram, sir, nange, whatever. I'm from Bangalore, by the way. You wouldn't say any of that, right? So that's also another thing. Last, I think this is more towards an underdeveloped personality. And it's not our fault. The system is designed in such a way that all our attention should be focused on education. All our attention should be focused on, getting the grade, getting the marks, getting a good job, etc., etc. So when an entire system is designed in such a way that only one or two things are in focus, we get really good at that. Like we're really good, like compared to I've seen compared to other students, my God. But we do have an underdeveloped personality. There is no sense of, okay, who am I as an individual? What can I contribute as an individual? What are my complexities as an individual? I think coming abroad is your chance to develop that side of you, your social skills, the way that you speak, the way that you dress, what you like doing, because here, you're not impeded as such. The thing is, in India, as soon as you do something that stands you out a little bit, where you're visible, it's ridiculed. You're punished almost for standing out. Here, you're not. You're rewarded for it. And I think you should use that opportunity to develop the holistic version of your personality. That means, what is my taste in music? What do I like? What do I not like? What are my values? What are not my values? To have a range in some sense and not just be stuck as like social identities. I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a this, I'm a student, that's all that you often see. So that would be like the big thing. Overall, I think final words to this kind of situation. It's that we need to acknowledge that we are in another country, first of all, and the opportunity that presents. Because again, you're not in the same mold. You can grow now. You can like be a different human being. Not that you want to or not that you should, but it's like a way to have your own personal adventure. Now that you've come, you're there. You can have that adventure for yourself. And that would be my list of all the things that I've noticed that could impede your international experience. These are not criticisms, not a sense of like, damn, we do all these things really horribly. It's just the fact that you can identify where the starting point of your journey is abroad and where you can end it. What are the key metrics to work upon here? So yeah, thank you for listening.